Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, hello. My name is Guy, the Kamen gentleman, and welcome to our late night recording of my review, my thoughts, my impressions, if you will, of Kamen Rider Gotchard and Osama Sentai Kingohger from Sunday, September 3rd. Wow, that's how far we are. Hello. So, more or less this video and subsequent videos in the future will more or less be looking at talking about the episodes that have aired in Kamen Rider Gotchard and Osama Sentai Kingohger. I keep going to say Kamen Rider Kingohger because sometimes it feels like it. So, this week we have more or less started a new series, Gotchard, and it received mixed reactions from the people online on Twitter and stuff like that. And with good reason. Apologies. A little sniffly. With good reason, because we have just come off a fantastically strong series in the form of Kamen Rider Gates, or Geats, where there was no real feeling of filler episodes. Everything had purpose, everything was strong. Apart from what some people claim, but yeah, we're not here to talk about Gotchard. We're not here to talk about Gates, we're here to talk about Gotchard. Let's see. First and foremost, I do not watch the subbed. My Japanese is okay, but it's not able to pick up on certain elements. I will miss certain elements, so I apologize, and I will not be very good with names until like the third or fourth review of this series. So I apologize in advance. So these are all taken out of the context of I am watching these and I am enjoying them without having to rewatch them to be able to read the subtitles, because that's what I used to do before I came to Japan. I used to watch the subtitles twice, subtitled versions twice. I would watch it once, not reading the subtitles. Second one, I would read the subtitles, not because of like I can't watch and read at the same time. It just I like to enjoy what I see. So please bear with me on if I get details wrong, if my opinion, my feelings of something is different from what is actually there. So for the first episode, it was good. It wasn't great, it wasn't okay, it wasn't bad. It was good. And I think that is because, and a lot of people have said it, sadly, even without holding on to the thoughts of the previous season, it doesn't feel as good as the previous seasons. Because it literally didn't have, like, the previous seasons, Saber, Revice, and Keats started off strong. They gave a lot of stuff, so it built up very quickly. Gotchard is a very slow series to, from what we've seen so far. It's going to be a slow burn, probably going maybe 10 episodes, 15 episodes before we really get into the meat of the thing. And I've already noticed a lot of people are like, yeah, I might not be watching this series, and that's fine, but much like when we get to Kingohger, I feel like a lot of people just give up on the season because it's not like their favorite season. I'm not saying the season is not their favorite season, it's not like a specific season, which is understandable. People do have their preferences of what a show is meant to be, and I'm not here to come to change that thought. Overall, what this episode has managed to show is the competency of the villains this year, because this is the first time in a little while that we actually have credible, like actual villains, people who are villains. With Gates, we had the DGP. Yeah, I always have to double check because I keep thinking it's the other way around. Which was a sort of nebulous villainy group. Revice had the Deadmans and Phoenix and stuff like that, where it was like all very nebulous on what they actually were. But this time we have three sisters who are more than what they seem. I call them a trio of dark sisters because I like that idea. We're introduced to them, introduced to what they are capable of. We are introduced to the person that possibly designed the belt, whose entire purpose is not only giving the belt to the protagonist, the main character of the show, but also to show off the gimmick items of the series, which is the Kamen cards, which are monsters trapped within cards. They are like alchemical sort of ideas, which is the whole idea of the series. Is, we have one Kemi who is of one type, and we have a Kemi of another type, and you put them together, boom. Then, apologies. Like, we're introduced to them, we're introduced to the villains, we're introduced to the Kemi cards. The CGI this time, they're not really going for like very heavy CGI with the Kemis. A lot of it can be very flat images of them. And when it's like a focused episode of a particular Kemi, we will get more of a CGI element to it. They've done really well with the CGI this year, which is very, very cool. The CGI for one of the main Kemis, Hopper 1, looks really nice, while the CGI for Steamliner, the other one, is a little bit at times, but it kind of works. It's not too, it doesn't knock you out of the immersion too much, which is quite good, and which is something Kingohger has issue with. We are introduced to the main character, Hotaro, who, and I'll be saying this for the next couple of episodes, is very much a blank slate, and that's his character. He has passion, he has an interest in food and combinations of food and stuff like that, and throughout the episode he does show signs of heroism that you need to be a Kamen Rider. He's willing to put himself in the line of danger to protect someone else, which is very good. It is something quite nice, and I'm glad they showed that. And it's not just a case of, "Bwah, I'm a writer now, bitch." Like some characters have done. Not in that particular way, but you get the idea. We're introduced to some of the supporting cast. The main one that got a lot of focus is Rini, I believe is the pronunciation of her name. She is the daughter of the creator of the belt, more or less. So the character who gives the belt to Hotaro, he is Rini's father, who may or may not be dead. That's all I'm going to say on this one. He may or may not be dead, because we don't know. Normally when a character is killed off, like permanently, they receive flowers, and to kill off a character this early on isn't surprising, but to have him sort of like show up for one episode and then like, you're done is not a good thing, I would say. Moving on from that, yeah, so we're introduced to the main character, we're introduced to the side character, we're introduced. There's also a teacher who is rumored to be the Decade-esque character. We don't know yet, and we are briefly shown the pseudo rider that will be in from probably next episode, who looks really cool and has a really cool henshin. The henshin itself, the suit itself, is very, very nice. The fact that this year we're going back to cards, and the way they are doing it now is a lot of them are in card packs, but some of them will be released with specific weapons or promotional toys or promotional stuff in general. Like, they've announced that 3 of the legend cards are going to be with the Christmas cake product this year, along with the Christmas themed Hopper One and Steam lineup, which is kind of interesting. And I think some of them are also locked to, like, you have to be a kid and you have to give like a code to the shop basically to get them, which is a little sad, but they'll be in the store soon enough, So the belt itself is very big. It's a big belt this year, and uses 2 cards to transform. They have to match it. It's harkening back to Build's best match system, where it's like you can combine any 2 cards together, but they have to come to 10 for it to work. And we're also introduced to the I believe it's wild form. I'm not entirely sure. And again, I apologize, I'm not giving an in-depth thing into this. I will be doing an in-depth review when we hit the 10 episode mark. We're introduced to the wild form, which is like a amalgamation of the 2 cards. So for Hopper and Steamliner, it is a metal grasshopper with a like funnel at the back, and it looks really cool. And we see him fight with that for a little bit before becoming Kamen Rider Gotchard. The suit is very shiny and very reflective, so we're not really going to get that many close-up shots of it, I think, this year, because it's so much of an issue to do. One of the nice things that I really, really appreciated this year was the fact that they showed Hotaro learning the henshin, learning how to become Gotchard, which is something some series don't do. Like, Geats was understandable because he had done the henshin so many times, so he understood. And they did even show like his first time doing it. But when Hodoro puts on the belt, he is shown more or less the steps to activate the belt, which is very, very nice. And it's a nice visual thing. It helps us realize that, this belt is more than just a belt. So, the monster of the week. Apologies. Again, I'm filming this at like after midnight, so I apologize. The monster of the week this time is chemies, who are forced to connect with sort of human malice, and the body itself is like a silver striped mummification, which is really cool, and the chemi sort of fuses on top of the body and stuff like that, so it gives a really unique look to it. I would say my only real problems with this series, like from the first episode, is if they're going to continue to use the drone cam, the whatever it is they're using to get like the 360 shots and the moving shots, is please, please, please upgrade your quality of camera, because the fight itself, once Hotaru became Gotchard properly, it cuts to sort of that drone sort of style camera, and the quality goes from like 1080p to 360 very quickly, and it's grainy, and it kind of threw me out of the immersion of it. But all in all, this series, the rider kick, by the way, is stellar. It is one of the best rider kicks we have seen. Like, Gates has a good one. Revice has a good, like, I would say it goes Gotchard, Gates, Zeta1, Saber, and Revice are at the bottom. Like, out of the Reiwa series, that's whereabouts I sort of things lie for me. Because I can't really remember Saber having that many rider kicks in general. I might have to rewatch Saber at some point. But yeah, his Gotchard's rider kick is very good. There's a good pose to it. There's a very good effect of when he goes towards the enemy, his body sort of mists apart and the pieces of his armor like form into his wild form before detaching, reverting back to his humanoid form and then delivering the kick. That's really cool. What else? Is there anything else I'm sort of missing from this episode? Yes, in terms of a lot of core details. The weapon, the gun that he uses is interesting, though the mechanics of the gun is a little bit weird for the actual toy, because like he has to load it up first with cards, which primarily are blank cards that he uses, and then he swipes one of the Kemi cards on the reader, sets it in, and fires. How it works in the toy is when you fire it, all the cards you load up are like ejected forward into like the release hatch. It could damage the cards. I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we've had like a lot of playtest with it yet. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. If someone has like put a lot of cards in and like just kept doing that over and over again, please do let me know. I will be able to try that out at the end of the month when I actually have the box set. Hopefully that and the pseudo rider as well. That's when I'll talk about the more intricate things about the henshin and stuff like that. So please do bear with me on that one. But all in all, this series is going to be an interesting slow burn series with episodic formats. I am going to be watching it. It is not the worst series that we've seen so far, like since like Neo Heisei onwards, because Ghost is still down there. Not because it's a bad series, just because I didn't like it. I didn't like the characters. I liked the idea of it, but yeah, like the execution fell through. So like I would say Gotchard is sort of mid tier for me right now. Moving on very quickly. I'm going to keep this part brief because Kingohger doesn't, like, I want to talk about Kingohger, but I want to also buy the toys because I kind of want to like really go into in depth with Kingohger, because Kingohger has become such a difficult series for a lot of people. Like on Twitter, I see everyone saying, "I'm so glad I didn't watch this series. I'm so glad it's very mid," and I can understand their reasonings for this. I can. However, and this is where the pitchforks are coming out. Last series was Dunn Brothers. I skipped the majority of Dunn Brothers. I watched it. I watched it from episode 1 all the way to the end, yet I still skipped it. And what do I mean by that? I just couldn't. I had it on in the background. I was like, I just couldn't be asked watching it. Because it was a drama Sentai, not a Sentai. It was a drama with Sentai elements, not a Sentai with drama elements. The focus there was different. I do not feel the same about Kingohger. I have watched every episode so far, and I have watched them. I haven't skipped them. I haven't had the background noise. I've watched them. So I'm enjoying it. And if you guys are enjoying it, that's great. If you don't enjoy it and you enjoyed Dunn Brothers, fantastic. More power to you. I have really enjoyed Kingohger in terms of its presentation, its idea, the suits, the weapons, the mecha this year, because even the 20 part combination Megazord is not CGI, and that really makes me happy, because I love me some like clusterfuck mechas. I really do. And yes, I use Megazord in that sentence. Sorry. But Kingohger has started into its second act, into its second season, which is using a more space themed, though we're staying on the planet by the looks of it. And we're introduced to the new villain group, who confusingly are called Galactic Insects. I started calling them the Galactnisecs, because insect and galactic put together, Galactnisec. And we're introduced to the main group, of villains and stuff like that, and the king of the Galactnisecs is really, really cool, and definitely one of the best things about this revamp, this season 2, because he's based off a tardigrade. His entire design is based off one, and it's really cool. And I just absolutely love that. And he has this sort of playful idea, like he is evil personified, but he is, he's this childlike mentality, and it's really, really cool, because he controls the universe at this point, and going back to Q Danger, where they have Don Shogun being like, I rule everything, but he doesn't do anything with it, and here we have the Galactnisec King being really cool and be like, you disagree with me, I'm going to blow up your world. And he's like, oh, I've manipulated your world since the beginning, and I've had like the previous kings work for me to do my bidding and clean up the messes I like force upon you and stuff like that. And it's really, really cool. We've got a continuation of the Bognarak storyline, with them being all wiped out, apart from Jeremy and Jeremy's advisor, who I cannot remember the name of. We have Kajimi, or whatever his name is, the weird book dude who manipulated everything. He's still around, so I feel like he's going to continue being a part of the thing right up to the very end. And we're introduced to the other generals and stuff like that, where they have their time to shine and show that they are very, very powerful. It's an interesting turn they've taken with it, because they more or less start off with Yamagast, Rita, Rina, I've got their names here because I completely forgot their names. Yamagast, Himeno Ran, Dabowski, Kaguragi Dabowski, and Rita all in prison. And now, why they were in prison, there is reasons, they've done stuff, but is this we've told a story just to be put away so we can draw out the bad guy, or what? But like with a 2-year time skip and stuff like that, we've got new looks for the characters and stuff like that, which is very, very nice. I would say, like, this season might be the one that allows the LED display background to actually be used properly. Because when you're showing different worlds, it's really, really nice. It's really good to do. When you're showing normal stuff, it's not as good. I am interested to see where it goes. The only real issue that they have, and I'm going to say one thing first. I'm not against the idea here. I'm not against it. I'm actually excited for it. But they should not have advertised Daigo coming back. They messed up with that. Because there is that underlying theme, underlying feeling under this episode of when is Daigo going to come up? When is he going to show up? Because for me, I expected him to show up and punch one of the villains, because that's Daigo. And I need to say this because people keep saying it and it bothers me. This is not Earth. Okay? The world Kingohger is set on is not Earth. It's a different world. And Daigo showing up randomly out of the blue. Perfectly understandable. Because he would. But yeah. I'm going to end it there because that's 3 minutes and this has been a ramble. I will try and do better scripted ones. I just wanted to get this out now because I did say I was going to release this today. So, hope you enjoyed. It makes some sense, hopefully. And I will do a proper video next week, or this Sunday, after the episodes have aired, and I can give a little bit better thought process to that, and I'm not asleep. So, thank you very much, folks, for watching and listening, and I shall see you guys very soon. Till then, take care, bye for now.